All right, guys, today we're going to talk about what optic heights should you use. There's a lot to consider. Your cheek placement, equipment setup, height over bore, which is pretty much one of the most important, and much more. With that being said, let's dive right into it. Welcome back to Class Farms, guys. Kai over here, tuning in from Take Aim and Training Range here in South Carolina. And today we're going to talk about optic height. Now, a lot of our viewers actually ask us this question: which optic height should I get besides the optic video? If you guys haven't seen that video that we've made for you guys, our thoughts on optics in general for rifles, check that video out. But today we're going to talk about the heights of it. It's a big, highly debated topic on the internet, which I don't think it should be, because there's no one size fit all here. Today we're gonna go ahead and address all of them, address some of the pros and cons, and I'll tell you guys which one I prefer. And then hopefully you guys can make your mind up on what you need. Anyways, let's get right into it. Right off the gate, I'm gonna talk about the 4 main optic heights. So we got your 1.4, then we got your 1.5. 1.4 is your absolute co-witness. Then you got your 1.5, which is lower 1/3. Then you get your 1.9, and then 2.26, and then you kind of go up from there, like 2.5 and 2.9 and above 3. We'll get to all of them, but 4 of them are your main ones. Here it is. This is your absolute co-witness. In a nutshell, this is in line with your iron sights. That's pretty much what it means. So if you're looking through the dot, right, the glass, you see your red dot. If you flip up your iron sights will be perfectly in line with the red dot. That's what it is. This is pretty low. So one of the downside to this one is going to be, I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate to you, would be just this. You have to kind of crank your neck down a little bit, right? Just like iron sights. Like, you gotta do this right there. Now when I do this, I can see that dot just fine, dead center. Now, this is not really all that comfortable shooting position, and a lot of times when you're behind a rifle, the more optimal, let's just say, position is keep your head dead center. You're looking down at range or your target threat, whatever, you bring the rifle to you, right? And in this case, my eyesight is about right here, and I cannot see my red dot, so I have to kind of go down here. Another downside on this one is, you guys have heard shooting with earmuffs, right? I'm gonna go ahead and put these generic earmuffs on, and when you get behind a rifle, you see what's happening here? A lot of times when I used to train, I used to do this just so I could just get comfortable, and I would just destroy my right ear, and it's not good. You don't want that. So one of the downsides to this. Also, when you prone, this is actually comfortable. That's an upside to it. Moving on to our 1.5. Now this is lower 1/3. So when you have your iron sights flipped up, your iron sights will line up. Still, you're gonna be able to co-witness through the glass, but it's gonna be at the bottom part of the glass, just below the dot, right? That's about it. So this is a little bit more comfortable when compared to your absolute co-witness, but still you're gonna have those challenges like the earmuffs, kind of cranking your neck down. Not quite as much, but it is still there. So right there. And sometimes depending on this, another part, right? Your cheek placement, your stock or brace placement is extremely important when compared to your optic heights. So think about that. That is very, very important. But right there, I kind of have my head cranked down a little bit, if you guys see the positioning. So just like that. I'm not in this position right there. I have to, right there, that's my dot. So pretty much similar challenges as the 1.4, but 1.5 is the industry standard pretty much. At least it was for me in law enforcement. A lot of law enforcement folks are using their 1.5, not just in the United States, pretty much around the world. This is almost a standard, I would say. Moving on to our 1.9. Again, this is ScalarWorks, they're both from ScalarWorks right there. So, significantly higher, right? There's gonna be a little bit more comfortable. Again, once again, you're gonna have to think about your stock placement. Right there, so there we go. I crank down my head just a little bit more, I mean a little less, sorry. And that's my dot right there. So I'm on low ready, and I bring the gun. I don't see my dot. There we go. That's my dot. Again, I'm gonna demonstrate again. Low ready, bring the gun up. I don't see my dot. There you go. That's my dot. So I have to move my head a little bit down. But with earmuffs, I want to demonstrate this real quick. You guys are gonna see it's still there, but not quite as bad. There you go. So, already, right there. I can actually shoot still and see my dot right there. It is in the way. It's kind of pushing it a little bit, but not as bad as 1.4 or 1.5. It's right there. I can shoot this thing all day long and good to go. But still there. Still gotta kind of bring my head down. Perhaps this would be all right if you're shooting under nods. Maybe not quite for gas mask level. Even under nods, right? It'd be pretty uncomfortable still, but doable. Moving on to our 226. Now, when this thing initially came up, right? A lot of people said, "Are you guys crazy?" Right? And honestly, let me get this mag out. It's good to go. Send the bolt forward. I was one of those people, because I was very used to the 1.5, 1.4, and I was like, man, that is pretty high. But this is really good if you really think about like CQB applications, even 1.9 as well. You're shooting under knots, even gas mask, right? Your dot is right there. So I can see my dot. So I'm gonna go down to low ready, and I can see my dot. Low ready, I can see my dot. It's right there. You see, I'm not really cranking my head down, right? It's low ready, right there. And it is very comfortable. So if I'm using nods, so I got my nods out here, right? I can just see it. It is in line. It's actually very good, very comfortable. Gas mask, it's gonna still be pretty decent. And when you wear your earmuffs, get that in there, it's actually significantly better. And you guys can see it right here. So earmuffs, look at that. Barely making contact. Low ready, it's right there. Low ready, right there. Absolutely fantastic. And some of you guys may think about this, hey, you know what? Your shoulder placement is not all that good, right? Your maybe cheek placement is not all that good, because it is kind of like right there, right? I'm not doing this. Some people may say, well, how are you gonna control the recoil? Folks, 5.56, it doesn't matter who's shooting it. Generally speaking, they don't really recoil all that much. Even those carbine lamp gas system M4s, they're the snappiest out of all of the AR-15s that I've fired, pretty much, especially short barrel ones, right? But still, they're very, very manageable. Let's just keep that in mind. A lot easier with 5.56. Moving over to something a little bit different. And we had the Unity riser on this one for the 226.
And they popularized it.
You're right. Thanks, Ryan, for that. Definitely Unity set the standard in this industry. And this video is not sponsored by Unity, but shout out to Hallie over there. She's a good friend of ours. Unity just completely changed the game with their risers. They absolutely changed it. SOCOM loves it. They use it to this day. A lot of folks, tier 1 operators, law enforcement folks, SWAT teams, they use Unity stuff. There's a reason for that. Now, moving on to our GBRS group Hydro Mount. Shout out to DJ and Cole over there. Now this thing, a lot of people said, man, this is ridiculous. This is extremely high. What are you gonna do with this thing? Some folks maybe still feel that way, but under nods and gas mask, you're good to go. And also, I want to talk about the gear, right? Sometimes, you know, you're wearing your helmet or your plate carrier, whatever you're wearing, you're unable to kind of comfortably get in this position with a 1.4, 1.5, even 1.9. With this thing, it doesn't matter if you have a gear on, your plate carrier's on, your helmet, earmuffs, whatever, nods. This thing is right there. This is like almost no cheek placement, right there. Like my chin is just barely making contact. It's right there. I mean, literally, this is it. So I'm not moving my head at all. I'm actually not even gonna get into fighting stance. So I'm just gonna stand straight, normal, just like that. And that is proper. You really do. When you're shooting a rifle, you get in that shooting position. You look at down target, your threat, your target, your downrange, whatever, and you just like get the gun. It's right there. And that's going to actually make you faster. You're going to acquire a target faster too. So this is it. And with the hydro mount, you got your laser placement option right here. Obviously, we just threw this thing on there. You'd have your mod button right here, and you can activate this laser, and it's not going to get in the way. It's going to be above, high out of the way. Good to go. Pretty cool systems. Definitely, I like it. Now this is like 2.9. Okay, so Unity, this is your 2.26, and this is 2.9. If you think that's too high, right? Hold my, I don't know what this is, Griffin. Here it is, guys. This is Brandon's personal build, and so we've got a 1.9 LPVO, right? 1.9 is the mount. So this is 193, just like the Scalar Works that I have here. Same height as this, the LPVO. 1.9, it's pretty good. Just if you look just through the glass, right? Let me adjust this. You don't want, well, because it's an LPVO, you kind of want to be closer to it, but it's just come down a little bit, comfortable, right there. And then you have a red dot at 12 o'clock, and that is above 3 inches. I'm thinking somewhere right around 3.2 or something like that, but it is above 3. And when I try to get on this red dot, here it is. There you go. So I don't even, that's, my chin is right there. So this is too high for me. Just showing you an example. If you're running a LPVO with a red dot, I don't know. Maybe you shouldn't run a 1.9. Maybe run a lower 1/3 or maybe 1/4, and then throw your red dot on top of it. It'd be equivalent to maybe a 2.5.
Or 45 degree of the 193.
Or 45 degree, exactly, right there. But that's, you know, personal preference. Maybe some people are just trained to use the 12 o'clock, some people are 45 degrees. But if you're gonna use 12 o'clock, I just believe this, for me personally, gosh, this is like right here. I'm not even getting any cheek connection whatsoever. It's right there. So I'd have to shoot this thing this way, which is a little bit too much for me. But again, this video is for those folks who want to go LPVO and at 12 o'clock. Make sure you know the height of your mount if you don't want this above 3 thing. But that's about it. And actually, you know what, Ryan? When you go prone, if I prone with this thing, which we should actually, we're going to demonstrate. I don't know how I'm going to prone with this thing. And I know the LPVO is what I would use if I'm proning, but if I, for some reason, wanted to use the red dot, I would have to really change my cheek placement significantly to be able to see the dot, because it is also the case a little bit with the 2.2. So identify some of those pros and cons, depending on the mission, depending on the needs, your needs. Every single one of these setups will be relevant and not relevant at the same time. All right, guys, now you've heard me talk about all of these different optic heights and also saw me shooting this thing in prone position, standing, whatever. I'm gonna tell you what I'm thinking, which one works for me the best. Again, for over 10 years, this is the setup I use, 1.5. This is what I use, this is what I've been trained on, and I'm extremely comfortable with 1.5. But I talked about some of the downsides of this, which I can't stand. And thanks to the firearms industry and the folks in the military, law enforcement, all the inputs of folks who know what they're doing, I'm actually a huge fan of 1.9 and also 2.26, which right here. If I had to pick, I'm pretty close to 2.26. Like if I had to pick between 1.9 and 2.26, right? I love them both, but 2.26 is a little bit more comfortable. It eliminates some of those problems that I talked about, the earmuffs and the gear and the nods, all of that stuff. I can just comfortably use this thing, yet I'm still very comfortable just getting that dot right there. So it's just like right there. God, I love this thing. Overall, fantastic. And one of the things that I haven't talked about, and I'm gonna talk about it right now, and that's going to be point of aim, point of impact. Now, you want to talk about high mounts, right? The Hydra mount, 2.9 and the 2.26 and freaking 3 right there and above. Well, one of the biggest downside is well, you're gonna have to have a holdover. If you have it 0 to 50 yards, so 50 to 50, that's your point of impact. Well, anything closer, 10 yards, CQB applications, right? If I have the 226, I'm walking into a room, I'm gonna shoot right at a target. Well, look at where my dot is. My dot is just like, again, significantly above my bore, which is right there. So I'm gonna have to, wherever I aim at a closer distance, I'm gonna hit lower. So I would have to basically guesstimate. I need to know my distance, but have a guesstimation and just aim slightly higher. So if I'm shooting somebody at a target, let's just say, right in the tee box, right, in the head, with this thing, I'm most likely going to hit the person or the target in the chin area. So I'd have to aim at the hairline area to get the tee box. Does that make sense? That's what it is. This is where the dot is, this is where the bore. You have to make that adjustment. And if you have something like above 3, like right here, just imagine this, guys. This dot is right up here. Like that's gonna be a significant point of aim, point of impact shift for you at a closer distance. So that's it, guys. That's extremely important. Think about that. That's very, very important. We are responsible for every single rounds that we fire. So yeah, you get that comfortable optic height, setup, all of that stuff, and you don't account for the point of aim, point of impact, the holdover difference. That could be catastrophic. Be careful with that. Keep that in mind. Get your stuff set up properly, sight it in properly, train with it, and know what you're doing with it. At the end, if I have to pick one setup out of all these things, it's going to be my 226. Again, it is do all for me, and when I prone with 226, it is actually not all that bad. I'm still able to get on it and still kind of see that dot just fine. So that's what it is. Some people complain about that. You know what, if you have such high optic height, then you're not gonna be able to prone fire with it. It's not. It actually works just fine. That's it. Let me know your thoughts, guys. What is your favorite optic height and why? And I want you guys to tell me your application. Whether you're in law enforcement, military, civilian, competition shooting, what is it? What are your thoughts? Let me know. And what mounts do you guys generally like? I love the Unity stuff. Obviously, Scalar works. Appreciate your business. God bless. We'll see you on the next one.